Go. A preliminary meeting was held in our Masonic Hall last Saturday to consider the preservation of the park estate for the use of the general public. Several peculiar circumstances have prejudiced the consideration of the matter in the past, and the peculiarity of the case when published in the newspaper arrested the attention of many local celebrities who saw that action was necessary if the reputation of the town was to be upheld. The estate contains some very old ruins in the perpendicular style of architecture, and its history is somewhat hidden in obscurity. But the buildings are in such a state of dilapidation that it is now deemed wise to protect them from further decay. It is said that if the prerogative of a local lord were exercised, in all probability, none of the land would be available for the use of the people. But as this is very improbable, we need not enter upon a debatable topic which might cause us to show any but charitable feelings. At the meeting, the chair was taken by a publisher who practices much real charity and who was distinguished himself on the local bench, a tribunal of which we are proud. On the platform were Mr. Arthur Johnson, who has performed signal services for his town, Mr. James Smith, the applicability of whose impracticable and republican theories is of little account in the performance of our daily duties, and Dr. Roshan, a very proficient master in the art of logic and one who has a very wide practice among some of the best families of the district. Para. In the preliminary announcement published on Thursday, the public were made aware of the deficiency in the income of the Performers Society, which performs a good work in a most practicable manner. The offices of the society are situated in a building which is a fine example of the perpendicular architecture, but is in a state of decay. Lately, there has been a discussion among the members on the powers of the committee, and many divergent views were expressed by the chairman and other members. As a tribunal, the committee do not always show a dignified attitude. Among other observations, some of which were extremely strong in tone, the chairman, a person of prejudiced views, said there were many difficulties in the way, but it was not at all improbable that our new patents would revive our trade in the South American republics, as they were peculiarly applicable to the wants of its people. Para. The chairman said an advertisement had been inserted in the local press inviting the residents to give substantial subscriptions to a central fund, and the amount subscribed being out of all proportion to expectations. There was now no fear of a deficiency, and there would be no difficulty in discharging all initial expenses. Among the observations made by the speakers, those of Dr. Roshan were the most practicable, and we hope they will have a wide publication. He gave a description of a scheme somewhat different from ours and led the audience to follow its applicability to the present case. Of course, Mr. Smith, who is very far from being deficient in eloquence and who is a practiced speaker and had some wild statements to make, and spoke of the evils of the disproportion in which the enjoyments of life are distributed. His speeches are very unsubstantial, but as a performer of the ludicrous, it would be difficult to find his equal either in this country or in any republic. When the next edition of the local paper is published, I will forward you a copy and you will be able to realize how unflattering he is in his remarks about what he calls the disproportionate distribution of wealth.